Hello, I'm Florian Friedrich, and here I will explain the settings of HDRmaster version 2. You may access the settings either using the main program page and the gear wheel icon here, or using the same icon in the analyzer. Once you open the settings, you may reset the settings to all the defaults or change them. The video preview and processing section might be the most interesting section to start with. We have different options here. Zoom is by default auto-fit, which means that the content is fitted into the window that we currently see. We also have the option of setting it to 100%, which means every pixel of the source signal is mapping to 1 pixel on the screen. Our standard setting for the GPU pixel buffer is 1/2 resolution. That means that every second horizontal and every second vertical pixel as well is being skipped. That is helpful for fastening up the analysis and processing. But if you have a good graphics card with a lot of GPU memory and process reasonably sized video files, then you can go to 1:1 resolution, which is usually what I do. After we change the resolution, we can apply the settings. Then the settings window closes and the analyzer reopens. Now that we are in 1:1 pixel mapping and full resolution, we can use the controls here or the mouse wheel to find our section in the screen. Now we can click at different points of interest and read the values. Let's go back to the settings. So the resize mode is only interesting if you're not in 1:1 resolution mode. For the time being, let's reset the settings, apply them again, and go back into the settings tab. The next section that might be interesting is decoding parameters. This defines how the video file or frame sequence is processed. So if it is a YCbCr format, for example, you have the option of either using auto, which means following the VUI, video usability information, or selecting it manually because BT2020 and BT709 have different matrix coefficients. Those matrix coefficients are used wrong in encoders sometimes, so if you see some strange colors, you can use HDRmaster to change in between those matrix coefficients and see which ones were used. For video levels, we can do the same thing, follow VUI or select it manually. Full range means that all the dynamic range available in the signal is being used and decoded. Normally, we have narrow or video range deliveries. Many of you might know it from 8-bit, where video signals reach from 16 to 235. But in this case, we can adjust it manually as well. Color space. This basically means the container that we're working in. For HDR deliveries, most likely it will be BT2020. For some theatric deliveries, however, you might want to pick DCI-P3. And sometimes contents are even put into the 709 container, so you have this option here as well. For the EOTF, electro-optical transfer function, we can either select auto or select it by analyzer, which means that we can adjust the EOTF here. Folders. All analyzers by default have an export image button. With this button, you are able to export the current screen, including the graphic overlay, in the same folder as the video is located. So if you declick source folder here, you're able to select a different folder where all those images will be stored. There's also an option for disabling the export image folder message, because after the image is exported, you will see a message, and once you're exporting a lot of images, it might be frustrating always clicking on the OK button. Similar for the analyzer presets. There is a default folder for each analyzer to save and load the presets. You're able to deselect source folder here and select a different folder where all presets will be loaded and stored. XML, this is for the sidecars. Doing an analysis of max CLL, max fall, or when you apply a preset, there's always an XML file stored next to the processed video file. CSV. If we want to further process the CLL analysis files, we might want to change the value separator or the decimal separator of the CSV file. We have those options here. Next section is TIFF frame export. We have the option to keep the levels exactly as they are or to normalize all exported images to full range. This is helpful if we don't want to use the exported images in video environments, but if we want to use them like in Photoshop or to show things where computer range or full range is required. In the Highlight CLL section, we are able to change the default percentage, and I will explain this approach of Highlight CLL in a different video. When we do a max fall analysis, sometimes we have black bars in the picture because it's not 16:9 aspect ratio. So here we have the option to ignore everything that is within those black bars. So black pixels will be ignored or processed. Audio section. MP4 audio is required when you're processing MPEG-4 files, and in some rare cases you have problems processing the MPEG-4 audio, so you can ignore audio here. Once you changed all the settings according to your needs, you always need to push apply settings. And that's it. Thank you for your patience and see you soon.